to another episode of The Couch Show, and welcome so much to our channel, Sibling Rivalry. I'm Lynn, this is Ray. Through our channel, we aim to be givers of love, givers of good vibes, and givers of strength through conversation. So thank you for joining us in the conversation. If you enjoy what you see, please consider subscribing, and definitely throw something in the comments, and we'll talk about it.
Welcome.
So we're coming out of such an epic weekend.
Hell yeah.
This weekend was so dope.
It was so dope.
It's definitely like kickoff of like summer for us. Festival, a nice festival weekend. Gov Ball 2023.
They had the email today. They were like, hey, we'll see you Gumball 2024. And I got all sad. I was like, oh man, it's over. I wanted to go, man. So they went to Gumball on Friday. I happened to I was able to win 4 tickets, which was the 3-day passes. So it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And for everybody who doesn't know, Governor's Ball is like a big festival, music festival in New York City. So it's kind of like, I would say it's on the level of like Coachella, right? What's the one we went last Labor Day weekend in Philly?
Oh, I don't remember.
That's a big one too that they have every year.
Yeah, but I was talking
like
about
South by Southwest.
I could not remember it for the life of me. So
yeah, like South by what's the Coachella, like the one in Miami,
Burning Man,
Ultra, Burning Man, yeah, like all these big ones. So the Gov Ball is like the big one here in the East Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other big one that's in Philly too. So to be able to hear about it all these years, talking about it, and then finally to get the tickets, and it was like, I don't know, I wasn't ready for it, but it was dope. I had so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite thing in the whole thing?
Oh, favorite thing. I loved visiting all like the pop-up stations by the different brands. Yeah. Like they really went all out. They made sure there was plenty of like selfie opportunities. Mm-hmm. They just created like an experience for you, yeah. Like the one had a slide. There was another one that was giving out, just all the freebies, everyone was giving out freebies. Try and get you your sticker on.
Yeah, I liked the Red Bull one. The Red Bull one, they made it look like a subway. And so as you were going in, it felt like you were on the train going to this like back spot. And then it felt like a little block party because they had like all the like little stores and stuff. Like they had the barbershop and a bodega and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just like the vibe and the energy there. Like me and my buddy, we just kept going back there. And then at one point they give us free hot dogs and we were just living it up. Spider-Man was up there dancing and shit. And we caught little performances here or there. I know Phineas was playing at one point, who's for people who don't know, that's Billie Eilish's brother. Mm-hmm. And I think he helps like produce some of her tracks and stuff like that. Now he's trying to break out on his own like an artist. And there was like a couple of other people. I didn't really care for the lineup actually all 3 days, except for Diplo, which you got to see.
Yeah,
and I was like kind of bummed about that, and Odessa, which I got to see Saturday night, and that was just amazing. And Odessa is like DJs. I would say they're like dance music, right? Dance music DJs, and it's just 2 dudes that are playing on a keyboard, and it's kind of hard to do a show with 2 dudes on a keyboard, right? Mm-hmm. But what they had to really like support the whole ambiance and the whole like the energy was they had a drum line. So they came out and like the drums were all had LEDs in it. So they was like all different colors to whatever the music was going. Yeah. And so they were like, and then like the energy was like hype. And then when they would drop the beat, fireworks would go off. And oh man, it was just, I wanted to see them, but I wasn't expecting that level of a show. I was just like hyped with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So last night the headliner was Kendrick Lamar, and same thing. Like as soon as he came on stage, like the fireworks went off in all directions, and like they have like the lights going, and it's really an.
So you actually stayed for Kendrick?
We saw his first set, and then we kind of bounced early.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so day 3 of the Gov Ball, I went and I took my 2 teenage children with me. And I'm glad that their first festival experience was with me. You know, you always
Hmm.
want like their first experiences to
Right.
is to be with you, so you can kind of guide them through it. So it was cool, like walking around with them, enjoying the day, and then it was getting towards the time when the headliner was going to come on, and my daughter, she's 13, and she's like, "Oh, I want to go close. I want to go close before everyone comes." I'm like, let's
No,
not do that.
nope.
Let's not. So, I let it kind of get a little crowded, and I was like, all right, come on. And we kind of like walked through the crowd and we got a little closer. And then like just as he was gonna start, like it just got so damn crowded.
Did you
He
you
was
should have
like,
saw it at the Verizon booth.
well, so we'll go into that. So, it started getting a little cramped, and anyone who's been to a festival, like you can't move, you can't turn around and leave. There's nowhere to move.
Especially if it's somebody big. If it's somebody big, you're packed. And honestly, I'd rather and this is just me, getting older. I'd rather be in the back.
Yeah.
More people are like just having fun, dancing. It's better to be in the back than to be cramped up in there. And
Mhm.
then, you bump into the wrong person, like with me at the Odessa thing, right? And I like to diffuse it. I'll crack jokes. I'll be
Mhm.
old, try to change their attitude. But there's just some people, they just got negative energy, and you just can't change it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, if I got to throw down, I'll throw down. But I didn't want that. I didn't want that kind of night.
Mhm.
But that's why you want to avoid those kind of people, because if you're in the back and you see something like that, you can just kind of walk away.
Right, there's space to kind of move about. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah.
we definitely kind of, once it started getting a little too cramped, I was like, nah, let's get out of here. So
Hmm.
we went ahead and left, and like we kind of heard him as we were like walking towards our cars again. But just throughout the day, it was an amazing day.
Yeah. But little Nas X was there too, and we could kind
Hey,
of
hey,
talk
hey!
about
Welcome to the
what.
stream.
Hey, Tris, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for the love. We'll talk about him later when we talk about the whole Liquid Death stuff, because he's tied into that shit too. So we'll get into that. And this one's a really good episode, and I'm glad Lynn found it.
Mhm.
Lynn found it because I was like, yo, I've been on this journey, and I've been seeing things a little differently in the world. And I feel like I'm the one going crazy seeing things. But now that my sister's starting to see that, it's like I think you're getting awoken to the ultimate, that spiritual journey you got to go on,
Mhm.
and I think you're gonna start seeing it. You're gonna start seeing it more and more, and it's. I mean, we'll get into the conversation. Let's keep talking about the weekend, because the weekend was
Yeah.
dope.
So I visited the governor's ball Friday, Sunday. On
Yep.
Saturday, I went out to Jersey to the PNC Bank
Center. Yep. Yep.
amphitheater,
Yep.
and
Yep.
oh my gosh, it was an
That's a
amazing
good venue.
experience. Yeah,
That's a
it
good
is a really
venue.
good venue. Like the entire like Coliseum or whatever the hell it is, it's made of concrete. So
Yeah.
like you just see like this amazing structure above you, and it has like the really big like columns and stuff. It really feels like you're like an ancient Greek Coliseum kind of thing. It was
Yeah,
kind of
I
cool.
actually did a music festival out there too. I did the Vans Warp Tour. It was like the very last one that they were doing,
Hmm.
and yeah, I went there, and the venue, it was good times. I like that venue. So every time I see like an event there, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like I know like certain venues, like if they started like some of them, I'm like, nah, I'll wait for it to show up somewhere else.
Hmm.
There's like certain venues I'm like, nah, it's hard to get into. It's
Yeah.
like I don't want to do it.
So the concert that I saw over in Jersey was with, who did I see? I saw Sean Kingston. Shaggy went on stage, did his thing.
TLC
TLC,
and Vogue.
yes.
It was like a
In
90s
Vogue, so I
throwback.
missed In Vogue. We got there a little too late. We didn't see her.
Oh,
We
you
didn't
missed
see
in
them.
Vogue?
Or I don't know. I don't really know In
It's
Vogue
dumb.
like
It's a
that.
group. Yeah, it's a group. But did you get to see TLC?
Yes, yes, and like that was definitely nice for me. That some of those nice throwbacks. I was
Yeah,
singing along. I was like, oh, I
yeah.
haven't heard these songs in years. So that was fun. That was a great experience.
And Shaggy, you got to see Shaggy?
Yep,
And Sean
yep.
Kingston, or you missed Sean Kingston?
Mr. Bombastic. Hey.
It wasn't me.
Yeah. No, Sean Kingston. We didn't see him either. We got there really late. Actually, now that I'm thinking about
Oh,
it,
so you missed like half the show.
we
Nah, but it's
did.
all
We
right. As
did.
long as you had a
But
good time, you had a good time.
right, it was a full weekend, a bunch of concerts back to back.
Yeah.
So it felt like I was at the festival all over again. You got there. We were late, so of course everyone was already seated. We pulled into the VIP parking because who's gonna tell me I'm not VIP? Like we had great parking, and it was another good experience. So that's
Nice.
when I noticed that
However,
the only
however,
water. Go ahead.
Lynn kind of she's hinting at something like listen, fellas, I'm gonna keep telling you, women live in a different world. They live life on easy mode. Because I'm asking her right because she went on Friday to Gov Ball, and I was all excited. I was having FOMO, and I was like, "Yo, how's it going? What's going? What's happening? What are you doing with it?" Right? And she's telling me she snuck into a VIP section at Gov Ball. Her and her
Yo, it wasn't
girlfriends.
even VIP. I snuck into the cabanas,
Yeah,
like
she snuck into the
the whole food
cabanas. She
shit.
was getting
We went. Whoa,
like
whoa, whoa. Well, now that we're talking about it, let's go to it. So
this
we
is
went to
like
the
this people
cabanas.
people pay thousands of dollars to get in here. Because they got boobies. They got in. They're getting free food,
We
free
were eating
drinks.
all the setup. They had all the food set
Yeah,
up. They had like little
mind
bars
you,
and drink
all
station.
the drinks at Gov Ball was like 15 and up, right? If you wanted a double shot, you paid 30, right? So the
Woo!
drinks were mad expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And she's over here sending me free photo. Oh yeah, you can get in here and I'll do this. And
Yeah,
I'm
get
like,
free drinks at
yeah,
the Casa Bacardi. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, because you got boobs. And
yeah,
it don't
yeah.
work like that. It ain't gonna work like that.
You know what I
When I go.
also learned is that day three, they're out of everything. They've already given out all their free shit.
All the free shit.
So
Yup.
make sure you do everything you're gonna do day one.
Day one, yup. Get all the stuff.
I left a couple, booths to do on Sunday because I was gonna have my kids with me, and nobody had free shit. I was like, wait, what do you mean you don't have guys
I
ice
didn't
cream? You had
even I was
clean.
trying to get an M&M hat and they were like, yeah, nah, you had to come like first thing in the morning for that. I was like, all right. After that, I was like, I'm done. So I was getting a free sample. So I got like free sample of M&Ms. I was getting like free samples of this and that. And I was like, ah, cool. But
Yeah.
I didn't get any. I didn't even get the Bacardi thing. They were like, you have to enter it and win it. I don't know how you got that. Once again, boobs.
What?
Because I went over to the guy. I was like, hey, can I get the cozy? And he was like, nah, you got to like win that. I was like, you got to win a cozy? I was like, is that free? But anhy's, so are you done with your Saturday? I'm sorry, I kind of
Yeah,
hijacked your
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah. So
Yeah,
so Saturday is really when I noticed that when you go to these events and you're looking for a bottle of water, they're trying to do away with the whole plastic, which I'm like, all right,
mhm.
cool, that's great, like let's get rid of plastic. But the only option they have is canned water by Liquid Death.
Yes, and that was also at Gov Ball too. And we're gonna put a
Yes.
pause on that because there's a lot more to talk about that too. Because Liquid Death is not just a water brand; it's
Mhm.
like a chic brand. It's like one of those brands now that I mean they got clothing. I'm getting the emails all the time of like it's becoming like a the Nike. I don't even want to say the Nike of like water. It's like supposed to be like this whole like it's like an image thing.
Mhm.
And the reason why they're putting it in all these venues now is because they could justify charging you like $5 for a can of water,
Right.
which the can is like this big, right? It's like this big, right? It's like the size of a Red Bull can, and you're drinking, you're parched, you're thirsty, right? And they're giving you this little Red Bull can for $5. But you know, they're really trying to build their brand to be that like luxurious like I don't know, it's not even like luxury, it's like more of
The in
like
thing to do,
the in thing,
the
yeah, the
cool
in, like
thing.
it's popular, right?
Yes.
That's what they're
Hmm.
trying. It's like chic, like they're trying to be a chic brand, and they're constantly doing these promotions where every time I get the email, I'm like, oh, let me check that out for like a shirt or something, or something dumb. Like the other day they were giving out like mallets from that game that you got to hit the ball with. I forgot whatever the mallet was for, but like they always doing these weird promotions, and every time I click on it, within a matter of minutes of me getting the email, things are sold out.
Hmm.
So they are definitely building, hype, and they are building their brand.
Hmm.
But we got to go into some things because over the weekend I noticed it and I kind of shrugged it off because I'm used to stuff like this. But then
Hmm.
Lynn noticed it and she was like, "Hold up, we need to talk about this." And I was like, "Okay, let's talk about it." But as far as the weekend, are you done?
No,
Saturday,
one
you
more
finished this done?
thing. So Friday, the headliner was Lizzo.
Yeah.
So we went, saw Lizzo. Of course, I was in the crowd singing along, loving all the songs. But even then, like there were a few things that I noticed. She has a song called "Everyone Is Gay."
Mm,
And when like I was just like hearing the lyrics to that song, I was just like,
mm.
okay, let's see where she's going with this. And then she also did like this it was like a little meditation kind of thing, and the whole stage was lit up and like the soothing music, and they were like, oh, like breathe with me and do like the breathing exercises. And so at first I was like, all right, this is kind of interesting, that's kind of cool. But then she finished it with like she was like, all right, let's do some affirmations, some positive affirmations. And she just went into like this whole like, I'm a strong woman, we don't need men, the same rhetoric. And that kind of just, it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it. Like now that I'm starting to see it everywhere, it's starting to piss me off. I'm starting to just get so turned off by it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm.
And even that kind of like, it felt weird to me because it felt a little like ritualistic, like,
Yes, and a lot of artists are starting to do that.
yeah. And I'm
A
like, well,
lot of
what is
artists are
this
starting to
kind of
do
like
that.
preparing us
So
for kind of thing?
yeah, but all right. So we'll rush through the we'll finish up the weekend so we can get into the whole Liquid Death conversation. We'll talk about all the artists and everything that's going on and all that stuff, and we'll kind of tie it all together. But so Lynn went to Gov Ball Friday and Sunday. I went Saturday, and then Sunday I took my son to go see Ed Sheeran. And we actually went to the MetLife Stadium where the Giants and Jets play. So it was a big stadium, event. And we had decent seats. I think we were like, they have the 100 level, which is like ground floor. They have the 200 level and then 300 level with like nosebleed. And we were at the 200 level. And so they had the big setup, like the stage and everything. It was amazing. It was an amazing event. And once again, a quick, a little short story as far as like negative energy. We get there and we find where our seats are. And then he was like, because he's spoiled whenever we go to like Jersey Devil games. He wants to find the empanadas place, right? Because he knows the empanadas and they're good and all that. And so he's kind of like, what do they have that here? I was like, I don't know, but it's a different venue. So we got to check and see. So he was like, we were on a mission to find the empanadas. So I mean, we were going hard. Like we even ended up one point going by where like the press entrance is, and we got in trouble. And I was like, "No, we're not trying to sneak in. We're just trying to find empanadas." And they saw the kid and everything. They were like, "Oh, try, the 100 section." And then we're finding it, and I'm like, "Buddy, Khalid is playing." He was like the opening act for Ed Sheeran because they have a song together, and so he was like the opening act. And I was like, "He's almost, wrapping up. We got to get our seats if we want to see the show and all that." And so we're walking and it's packed. This place was packed. And he sees a sign and it's like, what, Daddy, what's Global Pies? And I look over and I was like, oh, we found it. We found the empanadas. So we got that. And then we made our way to the seats. And so when we got back, there were people in our seats. And so, I'm double checking, asking like, hey, is this the right section? Are we in the right spot? Before I go up and say, hey, you're in our seats kind of deal, right? And so I did, and then I asked the guy. I was like, "Hey, I think you're in one of our seats." And I showed my tickets. He showed his tickets. He's like, oh, "Okay," and then he moves down. But I got a bad like vibe from the dude, right?
Okay.
And it's just like that negative energy. I just felt it, and I put my son next to him, and I'm sitting over here, and like I could just tell like throughout the whole concert. And mind you, he's a bigger Ed Sheeran fan than I am. He knew words, he knew songs. I told you I was questioning him to see if he wanted to go, and he guessed 3 songs and all that. And he just wasn't feeling it. And he was just in a very bad mood. Until finally, at one point, the guy moved to the other side. And then you could see, like, my son was like getting his energy back, and he was getting out of it. And then, they finally, that group finally left. And then towards the end of the show, I mean, he was jumping with all the songs at the end and all that because that negativity was gone.
He was picking up on
They
that.
left. Yeah. Like it was definitely affecting him. And so that's why I keep saying like you gotta control that energy. You gotta control your emotions because if you don't, that's years. Like that guy was much older than me, and that's years of that negativity where it's just festering, where people just meet you for 2 seconds and you're just rubbing off on them. Like you gotta cleanse your soul at times, and you gotta let some of that shit go.
Right.
And I don't want to like judge the guy. I don't know his life story. You can't judge somebody's life unless you walk a mile in their shoes. Right? The old cliches and all the things. But um, man, no, take care of your soul. Take care of your guy. Take care of yourselves out there, and don't take life too serious. Let things go, and try to keep your energy, in that positivity and that positive vibration. Because when you're vibrating down there, trust me, people can feel that shit, and that shit
Yes,
is
they can.
just.
Yes, they can.
But if you're
For sure.
vibrating up here too, if you're vibrating, up here too, people can feel that too. Like everybody keeps telling me I'm a hype man whenever I go somewhere because my energy's up here and I'm just
Yeah, and
to
it's
everybody.
kind of like it bounces
It's
around the room and
contagious.
people pick
Yeah,
up on it. So
yeah,
Sure said,
yeah,
yeah, because how dare you use your seat? Like
yeah,
he was there first, and you had no right to sit in the seat that you bought.
yeah. I know, right? Yeah.
So similar when I went to the concert on Saturday, it was me and I had three people with me, so it's a group of four, and we're walking trying to find our seats, and we kind of find our section, and I'm looking at the numbers don't really make sense, and we're going back and forth talking about, oh, it's this way, no, it's that way. I was like, you know what, let's sit over
Yeah.
there. And they were like, if there was like maybe 6 seats, and it was at the end of a row, and I was like, let's just sit here. So we go, we sit. And then, it was a coin toss. Every time somebody walked our direction, we were like, oh shit, are they gonna tell us we're in their seats, But,
Yeah,
but
and the way
thankfully, we were able to, watch our concert from those seats. We had no problems.
Yeah, and like the way MetLife is set up, um I don't know yet if I like the venue or not. I have to probably go again and see if I like it or not. But most stadiums, like you could go around the whole stadium, right?
Yeah.
And find your seats. But no, the way they have it, it's like built in where if you don't go in your entrance, like the tickets at Pepsi Gate, some will say Verizon Gate, and if you don't go in your right gate, you can't go to
Can't
your
get to your
other
seats.
side. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it was crazy the way it was set up, but there was 90,000 people in attendance. He sold out. Ed Sheeran sold out. That was the most MetLife has ever had.
Wow.
90,000 people in
Yo,
attendance.
good for him. That's
I
amazing.
was looking up. And like at the very top, in each one of the corners, I was looking, and I was like, "Yo, there's people up there in the nosebleed section. The helicopters, like they're waving high, and they can see them." I
Mhm.
was like, "Yo, that's crazy, man!
Wow.
90,000 people in attendance." So yeah, no, it was an epic concert. He was like, I asked him, I was like, "So is this your first concert?" He's like, "No, I remember going to a concert when I was little, but I don't remember what." So I was like, "I guess this is your first one. If you can't
Right.
remember who the artist is, then you gotta remember
That's
the
not really a
one.
concert.
Yeah, the first one is yeah. You gotta remember." So he was all excited.
Okay. So, so with
Let's
the
go into
whole
liquid
liquid death,
death.
the water and
Yeah.
everything. So, so my thing was, we on Friday, my girlfriend bought water, and the only option she had was the liquid death. And my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend's and I, we were kind of making fun of her, like, oh, how could you drink that? That's so crazy. Like, why would you drink something called liquid death?
Mm-hmm.
And so then Saturday, we're at the venue, and I'm like, I want water. And again, completely different venue, completely different state, like different artists, like different genre, and still same thing. All I could
So
find
yeah,
was the same
staying liquid
water.
death. Yep. Yep.
Right. So then I was like, well, let me take a look at this can. So I looked at the can, and like, they have like
They
their whole
actually
story.
yeah, they
And it
actually
turns out
started.
that's supposed to be like some teenagers. It's like some
Yep.
teens who are
Some
like,
kids
hey,
and they were
let's
partying and they're
murder
drinking the water, but
plastic,
it
death to
looks like the
plastic.
alcohol can. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
how they did the first commercial was. And then it was like, oh, don't worry, it's just water, right? And that's how
Right.
they made the commercial. And of course, they look like your spiked seltzer water cans, right? And like the commercial, the one or two commercials I saw was kind of funny. It was like the parents are doing it, and then everybody's there, and it was like, and it just made it's like bad until you realize, oh, it's just water, right? And so that was their whole into this whole water scene,
Okay.
but
Which I
you
let
know,
me throw it in the background here because I got it. Look, little kids.
yeah,
Look, these kids
yeah,
are
exactly, yeah, they're
they're
chugging
portraying
it, they're
a
partying,
party. They're freaking
right,
partying hard. This is a college party right here.
right.
We're freaking kids.
But once again, what are they promoting? they're promoting debauchery, right? They're promoting being wild, crazy, whatever you want, and it's kids again, right?
Yes.
Right? And of course, it's a new brand. You don't think anything of it, and you're just like, oh, it's joke because it's
It's
just
just
water. It's not
water.
alcohol, right?
Hmm.
Until they do what their next promotion is. So pull that one up.
What was their next one?
The one that you just talked about, the one that you went to the website and you went and you saw. Their latest promotion.
Oh, not the one that I
Their
pulled up.
current one. Their current one.
All right. All right.
So if you go to the website right now, you go liquiddeath right now.com. What is their newest promotion?
Hang on, I'm going up. I'm going up. Yeah, if we go straight to their website, this is what they're doing now.
No, I'm not talking about commercials anymore. Like the whole reason why you wanted to bring this up today.
All right. So my thing is, so I came to the website because I was like, well, I want to read more. You know, like I saw in the can, it's by a couple teenagers, and I was like, all right, so maybe it was just a stupid idea that they took too far. And so as I'm clicking through here, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. It started out. So this guy over here, I saw this on a truck. I was driving on the highway and I saw like on the side of a van and I was like, oh, that's weird, you know? And then of course I went to these concerts this weekend. That was the only water available. So that's kind of like how it's like gotten my attention. But down here in the corner, it says like sell your soul.
Yeah.
And I was like, WTF? Like, what do you
Well,
mean?
click
So
on
I
it.
this.
Click on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, click on it.
And it's like, oh, join over 200,000 people who have legally sold their soul to this beverage company.
Yeah.
And like, just think about what I just said. You're selling your soul. Like, are you shitting me? Could that be any more
And
demonic? Doesn't get
according
any more
to
demonic than that.
according to Liquid Death, so what you're selling your soul for? First off,
Mhm.
taking a step back, it's you're selling it for a membership. It's a
Yes, for your
membership
country
to
club.
their VIP, their country club thing, which they're going to be at a lot more venues, right? Because they're tying into all of these experiences. They were at
Yes.
Govball, they're at the concerts. So when you see the Liquid Death booth and you show them your VIP, they're going to give you, free merch and free all this stuff, right? And there is a pay option. You can pay cash for it. So Liquid Death is they're equating equal sign, right? Equal. Your soul is worth 125K according to them. Because I
Mm-hmm.
looked at it. I looked at the pay option. I was like, how much is it if I do the pay option? And it's
Mm-hmm.
125K. So 125 grand or sell your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once again, if we live in a society that keeps telling you there's no such thing as God, right? It's make believe, the Bible, right? They want to laugh. The more people want to believe that they're so smart, and this is a lot on the left. And I don't mean to rag on the left, but this is what you guys say. This is what you guys do, right? You guys think that you are so smart, right? And this is why you guys virtual signal a lot, because you think, oh, all these old beliefs are archaic, even though a lot of these beliefs are the foundation of society. But you guys think, oh, this is all archaic and we can evolve and we're better than this. And you guys believe that there's no God. So if it's a constant, there is no God, why do we keep seeing satanic images over and over again?
Yeah.
Going back to Little Nas X, he put out shoes that had a thing of his blood, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in his videos, he has that satanic image, right? Grammys just this year, the Grammys this year, there was I forgot what his name. There was an artist who did the whole promotion, the whole show, the thing where he was, in a satanic ritual, and people were, outraged by that, and they were just laughing like, ha 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 ha. How
Yeah.
can you be so prudish to believe in all this stuff? But if you
Right.
don't believe, why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Now I get it. Maybe some people are doing it to be like ballsy. I don't know. Just being like,
And
like the guy.
You know what?
Bet.
I think that the ad that I have playing right now,
So
kind
this is Tony
of,
Hawk.
yes, and his whole demeanor throughout this whole thing is so nonchalant, and everyone knows the name Tony Hawk,
Hmm.
you know, and so that means that you have a certain responsibility to society. You're supposed to be setting an example because you are a role model, whether you like it or not. You are a role model. So they're taking these people with big names who little kids look up to, and they're portraying this as though, like, all right, I'm just gonna do it, see what happens. Like, it's just this. I need to play it with the volume on, like, just a couple seconds.
I don't know. To me, once again, if they're taking this serious and they're taking it serious because they have fame, they have money, they have everything they wanted, and they're
Mhm.
coming out with just satanic rituals, then what makes you think maybe you should, I don't know, favor on the other side?
Mhm.
Unless you want to be famous and rich too. Hey, more power to you. That's what you want. But I'm not going to sell myself for that.
Well,
I'm
let me play
definitely
a
not
couple
going to sell
seconds.
myself for some water.
Let me play a couple seconds for you guys here.
I don't know. It's very confusing. They're taking my blood, and we're going to use it for skateboard graphics. So they're going to mix my blood into the paint and do a limited run of skateboards using my real blood in the graphics. But some of the profits will go towards killing plastic pollution and
And like, if you just like, you can hear it in his tone of voice, you can see it on his face. Like, he's just so. This is happening.
So wait, if you have my blood, that means you have my DNA.
Get the Liquid Death Skateboard infused.
You know, and like, to me, he sounds like a child. He doesn't sound like an adult. He sounds like a child who's making a stupid decision and not really thinking much about it and being super nonchalant about it. And then, like, that's the example he's setting. So now, like, these young children who are coming up in this age and thinking, oh, Liquid Death, that looks so cool.
But there's a trend too, though. There's a trend where, now is Tony Hawk's blood is now in this skateboard.
Skateboards. Yeah.
Little Nas X blood
As
is
in the
in these
sneakers.
sneakers. Like, there's a trend going on, right?
Absolutely.
And there's even people who will take it one step further where they say stuff like when I forgot which artist it was that they had that concert and it was just in the desert. It was this huge concert and he had like satanic images and then it was so packed that people were passing out and dying.
Yeah.
And they said that was by design because he was doing like a satanic ritual.
Mm.
And I'm like I listen. I'm just saying it like how I see it. I'm calling it out how I I see it, and I've been saying this for a while. We're in a spiritual war. The more you feel you can live your life the way you want to live it and do whatever the hell you want, and you don't want to have any kind of boundaries or accountability for yourself. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. You're living your life in sin. But if you look at it, if you break it analytically, you're just not. You're not being the best person you can be.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not holding yourself accountable. This is the reason why I have my grief with Lizzo. I can never see her in concert. I can never support her. Nothing. And people be like, "Oh, it's because you're fat phobic and you're body shaming." I'm like, no, I'm a big dude, and I'm trying to do everything in my power every single day so I can get myself in shape. And it's a hard battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think I want to fast for 2 weeks? No, I want to go down the street and eat some really, really good pizza. But I'm trying to hold myself accountable so I can be better. And then you're just giving her this free pass.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're letting other people feel like they can give themselves a free pass. And it's almost like the movie Wall-E, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the society had a free pass, and guess what? Look at what became a society.
Yeah,
right?
we're all sitting on those little cars, driving around our little
Right.
Like the old people
Right.
drive. What the hell are those things called? The little mobility carts.
Yeah, right.
Drinking supersized sodas. Like that's exactly who we are right now.
And just consume.
Yes.
And that's what we do. We consume and we buy. We consume and we buy. And we consume. When you cut all that stuff out of your life and just find yourself, love yourself, and you become happy with the most littlest things in your life, you're going to realize how much less you need in life.
Mm-hmm.
how much less you need to, it's amazing. It's eye awakening, right? Like how much more your dollar goes
Mm-hmm.
when you don't need to buy anything,
Yeah.
right? It's crazy, and most people don't, can't see that or can't even be, turned on to that because once again, there's something broken inside of them where they gotta consume this to kind of push, whatever away. They gotta buy things to push whatever away, right? And we talk about it on the show. We live in a society where more people are depressed,
Mm-hmm.
right? More people have anxiety, more people are falling for the wrong messages, right? This is right. This is the reason why there's the message, and everybody, are being social activists, and oh, I want to fight for this cause and this cause and this cause, which all those causes are BS, right? You know what month it is, and the only reason why corporate America is tuning in is not because they care, is because they think they're gonna get, a lot of suckers to buy their product
Mm-hmm.
because they think, oh, you think they care? No, the companies don't care. But if they act like, oh, I care, you're gonna buy their product.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yes. All
All
right.
right. So I want to pull up like their site again, because there are just so many elements here that are just driving me insane. So up top, where you have all like the tabs where you can go to on their site, it's called Time Waster 5000. So you click there, it brings you to this page here. First thing you see is this chick fucking waterlogging this dude. Like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
like as you scroll down, it's just like, well, what the hell? Like these people have like plastic surgery. This is an enema kits, like collectors. They're definitely pulling in the kids with like this whole the like headless, the severed heads. And it's so scary. Like it bothers me that they're bringing the kids into it. They're
But
targeting.
why? But then once again, we can have this whole argument as far as like why are the kids being chased after for I mean, I'm gonna bring I'm gonna do a quick shift because we're talking about the kids. And
Mhm.
I told you the story, when I came on Saturday, but over the weekend, so one of the biggest games out here is Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty, big first person shooter, has a big foothold, it's owned by Activision. And another game that came out recently, Diablo, once
Mhm.
again, Devil, right? Diablo, and I'm guilty of playing this game too. Um, that's owned by Blizzard. They're both the same company, Activision Blizzard. But over the weekend, there was, it is Pride Month, and there was a big protest going on at one of the schools, and there was a big riot that was
Mhm.
going on between the parents who were against what the school was doing and the parents that were for, and they just were fighting in the streets. And the clip was there. And recently, Call of Duty released two skins, two bundles, because all these games, what they do is they do micro transactions, right?
Mhm.
So if you're playing a game, they try to get your money by saying, hey, don't you want to play this skin or don't you want to play that skin? Fortnite has done it in the past with like other streamers like Ninja. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I know another game did like Dr. Disrespect, right? So recently, Call of Duty released Nick Merck and Tim the Tatman, two big streamers, right? I think Nick Merck has like 4 million. Tim the Tatman has like 5 million. They're big guys, right? They're big, social influencers, streamers, whatever you want to say, personalities, right? And so they just released their bundles into the store. And over the weekend, with this video that was going around and, the parents writing at the school and all that because of Pride Month, Nick Merck put a small comment. He was like, the real issue is, leave the kids alone.
Mhm.
And once again, all these stories we're hearing involves kids. And that's to me is the most creepiest thing of all. You're talking about liquid death. You're talking about all this. We're tying it all together. And at the end of the day, it's the kids, right?
Mhm.
And so he released that comment, and then Activision's response was to pull his skin from the store. Like they pulled it so you couldn't buy his skin anymore. And then Tim the Tatman in response to supporting his friend, right? Because once again, these are guys who started playing their games, and then imagine you playing a game, you're just doing it, people are watching you play the game, and then eventually that game that you love so much puts you in the game. Like, it's an epic moment. And he was like, look, I know, Nick, we've done this together, and for us to have our moment and to not have Nick with me, side by side doesn't feel right. So he was like, hey, please remove my skin from the game. And so Activision doubled down and they removed, that man's skin too. And so to me, once again, I get what Pride Month is. But you also got to understand that a lot of religions, this is biblical. This has been written years and years ago. They see that as taboo. They see that as sinful. Now, I'm not saying that, they have hate in their hearts. They just don't want to be around that. And there has to be a way, if you're saying that we should have tolerance for people who want to have this lifestyle on one side, you got to have tolerance for people who want to have a lifestyle on the other side too. Like, I look at it, I have a gay friend, and I'm like, if he was ever like, hey, would you support me in this and this? I want to go march or something, I would go march with him, right? Because it's his life, and I want him to be happy. But then I also have another friend who's like super religious. And if he ever has kids and they're going to a public school and he wants to opt out from certain things because it goes against his religion, he should be able to opt out of that. And as far as I know, I believe all three of the major religions look down on that, on that lifestyle, right? So I don't understand why, our schools are not neutral. And I keep telling you, this whole alphabet community, this whole alphabet movement, right? What's going on this month has surpassed letting, it started with, let me be and let me love who I want to love. It surpassed that. It's now a fad. And I would even argue that it surpassed that. I think we're at this point where it's a religion. It's literally a cult. It's literally a religion. And it's a religion that's throwing it in your face. To the point where the White House doesn't have American flags hanging right now.
Really?
Google the White House right now. The White House has a pride flag dangling right now. So the national religion of the United States is pride right now. I'm just letting you know. And like I said, I don't have anything against anybody who lives that lifestyle. I wish you the best. I want you to be comfortable in your own skin. I want you to go wherever you want to go and be open and be happy with yourself. But you got to understand that if some people don't like that, they don't like it, right? Some people like hamburgers. Some people like hot dogs. Right. Why can't we all be at the same barbecue? I don't get it. I don't understand why tolerance can't be something that's done in silence. Why can't certain people opt out of certain things? Like, it's like you're being forced this. And when you're being forced to do something, to me, that's where it starts to feel a bit weird. And especially when you want to do it around kids,
right?
That to me feels even more weird. So I don't know. That's my rant.
Yeah, so that's one of the things you see, like, with the White House getting involved and like showing like, hey, like, it's portrayed as solidarity. It's portrayed as like, hey, this is, we're on the same team, and you're American, you can do what you want to do. But at the same time, it's like, know what you stand for, because why are our political leaders also jumping on the bandwagon?
Right.
Like, who made that executive decision? So
right.
Let's start waving these flags for the month. No, it's our we have a flag. It's the United States of America, freaking red, white, and blue stripes, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And
I honestly, like I said, I honestly, the fact that a lot of religions go against this, and you're going against religion, and we do have a thing here in America called separation of church and state. So that means anything that is funded by the government, you gotta be neutral. Separation of church and state. So at some point, you gotta realize this is not because somebody. I brought it up in my community and stuff like that, and someone was like, I don't really see it as anything. Of course, I'm gonna sound like the bad guy because I was like, uh, no, I was like, no, Pride Month should not be celebrated in schools. It should be neutral because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about sex.
Mm-hmm.
And why are we being so over sexualized when it comes with kids?
Yes.
And then, the response I got back was like, well, I don't see it like that. I see it as just like, you know, like African American month, in February, or, breast awareness month or something like that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, I don't see it that way because once again, there are religions who follows, saying like this is taboo, this is sinful,
Mm-hmm.
and they should have the right to not see that in their face 24/7 in a public building, not a public building, but in a government funded building,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's their belief, that's their religion. They shouldn't have to feel guilt or feel sinful for walking into a school or, a government building or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at some point, I think what's going to have to happen is, First Amendment. I really do believe that a lot of these churches are going to have to come together, which I don't think they are. I don't think they are. They're not going to come together, but I think they should come together, and I think they're going to have to start suing and saying like, "Look, you're infringing on my religion.
Mm-hmm.
This is my belief." But they're
So
not going
now
to
in
do
the
that because it's
comments,
all about image.
I want to go to the comments real quick. So Tris said, what about Texas forcing schools to display the 10 Commandments? He says that's also forcing one religion or system of beliefs on all.
I believe once again somebody should sue that because if I was Jewish, I should sue that and say that's not my religion. That should be a neutral ground. And I 100% agree on the other side. And that's the reason why you start seeing that a lot of schools have started removing God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. They've
Mm-hmm.
actually stopped saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So
Mm.
I 100% agree. Like, if, that's one extreme on one side, and we're seeing the other extreme on the other side. Whereas, yeah, I would totally agree with that. It should be taken out and it should be neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Now, America was founded
Founded.
by the Ten Commandments because the pilgrims that came. You know the story of the pilgrims that came, and they came because they were what, being persecuted in England by their, they were super religious, right? And they were being persecuted in England, and so they would say, hey, we're going to move somewhere else for our home, right? And that was, the Ten Commandments was the foundation of America. However, with all the diversity that we have going on with the different religions, I would 100% agree because once again, I wouldn't want a Muslim student or a Jewish student sitting in that school feeling uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
because the Ten Commandments is in your face.
Right.
And that's the same thing a pride flag is doing, sitting in their face. Like, you got to understand, this is people's religion. And if you are Puritans, right? So if you are promoting, you're the side of promoting tolerance, tolerate me, let me love, let me live, then how are you not going to have tolerance for people that love their God and want to live with their God?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand that. Like, how do you say it's my way or no way at all?
Right.
And this is what the fights were going. And I know some parents are just saying, hey, I'd rather have, they're like, I don't want you teaching this in the schools. I want to be the one, as a parent to teach my kid about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there's videos, there's kids who videotape some of these teachers, and the conversation they're having, I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, there was one video, because, I was watching clips on YouTube, and, one of the YouTubers, he pulled up a clip and he was like, this is what they're teaching the kids in schools. And there was this one teacher who was talking about how you can get vibrators in Target. And they were talking about the male G spot. They were talking about the male G spot and how there's male vibrators in Target. And I'm like, well, all right, you could teach biology. You could teach anatomy. You can quickly say like, hey, there's guys who like guys, there's women who like women, right? But why do you got to go into all that detail?
Right.
Like, to me, that's where it's like, Now you're taking it to the extreme. And are you actually teaching for educational reasons, or are you now teaching to push on your beliefs and your opinions?
Right. And that's exactly where we need to figure out where that line is, because it does feel like now it's like we're grooming our children. That's exactly what's
Yeah,
happening. They're being groomed. And they're being desensitized and groomed, and they're being pressured
yeah.
into in a situation where they already feel pressured to try and fit in. They're feeling more pressure to now opt to
To
be
be
this
this
or
way,
opt to
yeah,
be
to be
that.
this
And
way. And then
yeah.
this leads to, and once again, we said, we live in a society that has a lot of anxiety and depression. And when you're trying to conform because that's the fad, and you're doing something that you don't enjoy doing,
Hmm.
at some point you're gonna come to the realization, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna look back at the fact that you were doing this. You're gonna feel disgusted by the fact of who you are. And sure enough, you hear the stories of people taking their own lives.
Hmm.
And that's happening a lot in the trans community. That they're doing this, they're doing this transition, right? They're changing, they're mutilating their bodies, thinking it's the right thing they want to do, and then they're coming to the realization they're not happy, or
There's
life
no
was
choice.
better. I sent Lynn a link where there was a trans man, so it was a woman, biological woman,
Hmm.
who became a man, and then realized that life as a man is hard mode.
Yeah.
She was like, I miss the hugs. I miss people caring. I miss nobody sees me. People ignore me. I'm in the shadows. And she
She
was like,
misses just going into, public restroom and
right.
giggling
And
with the
seeing,
ladies,
right.
like
Or
right
the
then and
hugs. She was
there.
like, women always give hugs because,
Yeah.
and I do agree with that. Women, each other, like they're very consoling, right? If they could
Hmm.
just see instantly on your face, right? Women are very intuitive. Like they see something's wrong with you, they say, oh, what's the matter? And that nurturing spirit comes out. They're always hugging each other and all that. She doesn't have that no more. Because that's not in the guys' community. Nobody
Right.
gives a. If you're a dude, nobody cares about you. You got to be like super attractive, super money. You got a status and all that, and then they'll start caring about you. But an
Hmm.
average dude, nobody cares about you. You carry that shit on your own, right? But I wouldn't have it any other way. I see your cuckoo on your side, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But she did it,
Hmm.
and she's like, it's so lonely.
Right.
It
And she
sucks
also
being a
said, like,
dude.
no one told her about that. Like, no
Right,
one's telling you, hey, they're telling you, hey, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. Take option A, take option A, pressure you. I'm going to pressure you
right.
into option A. But they don't tell you, hey, long term, 10 years from now, option A, you're going to regret
But
that. Like, they don't
but
really tell you what it's like once
right.
you crossed
You
over to
do
the
it,
dark side,
right?
you know?
And but that's society in a nutshell, though, and that's
Hmm.
why I told Lynn over the weekend too, because she was what was it? It was your girlfriend who's married, and you
Hmm.
were like trying to say something about the marriage, and I was like, shut your mouth, because you're single. You don't. That's marital stuff. You do not get involved. Shut your
Hmm.
mouth. That's what I told you, because once again, misery loves company.
Hmm.
And so Lynn's gonna promote her to want to be that single girl, and then next thing you know, Lynn's gonna break that marriage, and y'all
Hmm.
both gonna be miserable. And that's how society is all the time, man. I see it nonstop all the time. Everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side,
Hmm.
and when they realize it, when they get over, they're like, "Oh, damn, it's mud. It's a shithole over here." I was like, "Damn, I need to go back over there." No, it's too
Hmm.
late. You can't. And they're doing this to kids. They're making kids transition. They're doing this
Yes.
to they're doing puberty blockers. They're changing their whole body around before they're even an adult. And I'm like, how can you say a kid knows what sexual or sex they want to be, but a kid can't go to war, a kid can't smoke, drink alcohol, right? You're saying all this stuff,
A kid can't even get into a rated R movie.
right?
You could
Right.
drive yourself to the movie theater, which always blows my mind. You're old enough to drive yourself to the movie theater, but you're not old enough to buy the ticket. Like,
Like, do you
we
know
have
how
all
many?
these guidelines. It's like, oh, you have to be this age to this, that, and the third. And it's like with this, they're not. It's like that goes out the window.
Do you
Whatever.
know
Oh,
how
you're
many
6 years old.
different?
You know what you want. You know.
Do you know how many different jobs I wanted to have when I was growing up as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if somebody was like, "Oh, that's the job you want. You're held
That's it.
accountable to
Locked
that.
in.
You're locked in." And it's like, but And listen, if you wanna spur those creativities, if your kid seems a certain way and you wanna promote it, but why not that ultimate step of that whole surgery and all? And I don't understand doctors that are doing that. Like,
Right.
you're mutilating a child. I don't
You,
understand
you know what?
that.
It makes me question, like, all right, so is it only certain doctors? Because like back in the day when abortions first like were like legal, but they weren't legal yet, all that BS, like only certain doctors were performing it, and you would know word of mouth
Oh,
which doctors to go to. So
it's
it's
a
like,
very look. It's another lucrative field. It's just another reason to make a shit ton of money. And from what I got, the current regime that's in office right now,
mhm,
they're about to put it in law, saying like, listen, if a child says they want to do this, you can't get in the way. The parents can't get in the way.
mhm,
And I'm like, that's devastating. That's
it is.
devastating that you're gonna take the advice of a 7-year-old child or an 8-year-old child
Mhm,
over, their parents.
yeah.
And what's the problem waiting 10 years?
Mhm,
If this child's 8, what's wrong waiting for 10 years? If he or she really feels this way, they're gonna feel like that 10 years later.
mhm,
You could have the child could be in a dress that whole time. The child could be wearing makeup or dressing like a boy or playing with boy toys and all of that. But the whole changing of their body, why can't you wait till it's the child's 18?
mhm.
Like, is that too much to
And
ask?
because then you have the doctors and the professionals, saying, oh, well, if you wait longer, then it's harder to do. And, like there's this complication and there's XYZ. There's always, somebody's always going to have a comeback.
An
Somebody's always going
excuse,
to have an
yeah.
explanation. They're always going to make it make sense, which is why you need to know what your values are.
Yep,
And
yep.
in this
You
day
need to
and
know
age,
what
it's
you stand
so
for, or you
much
fall for
more
anything.
important.
I
Yes.
I
Know what you
agree.
stand for.
I agree. But let's go. Let's go to the comments. There's a lot
Mm.
before we close up shop.
Wait, am I missing comments?
Yeah. So Tris said he said he'll sell his soul for 125K, not for the membership.
Oof. Oof, that's it? 100K?
Yeah,
No,
bro, jack that up. Put a M after that. Come on, your soul's worth a lot more than
a lot
125K.
more, man. A lot more.
He said,
Perfect. Chris, I want to give you a hug.
he said, I think it's technology's fault. It made our life so easy. We have too much free time. Idle minds are the devil's workshop. And I agree.
Yes.
I
And I
agree.
pulled up that one before because that right
Yeah.
there. And I'm gonna keep saying it, it's know what you stand for or you'll fall for anything. If your
Yeah.
mind isn't being occupied, if you don't know what's really important to you, then anybody can, speak quickly and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, that makes
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense,
But what I would like to say though is, man, like I said, I really don't want to make it a spiritual show, but it sucks when you see it everywhere. You say
Yeah.
satanic symbolism everywhere, and it's always tied to, ironically, it's tied to that rainbow flag too. And
Mhm.
and I have to correlate the two. I have to correlate the two. And I told you this the other day, Lynn, that when I go by a church and I see a church has that flag, I'm like,
Mhm.
that's not God's home anymore. To me, that's
Right.
not God's home anymore. You're not following the word. You're not following what's written in the Bible or whatever your book, because the Quran, the Bible, they all talk about that.
Mhm.
But why do they talk about that? I don't think it's the lifestyle that is bad. I think it's the fact that you're going down that path of debauchery, right?
Mhm.
You're not holding yourself accountable. You're not holding yourself in that higher standard that you should be holding yourself to. So, this has been happening for ages, for ages. But all I can put out there is like, if you really feel lost in this world, start talking to your God. That's all I'm gonna say. Start talking to your God, or you're gonna fall for all this stuff that's out there.
Mhm.
You're gonna fall for all this stuff.
Because it looks great.
And yeah,
They do an excellent job. The marketing team,
yeah,
give them a raise,
yeah. And look at all the people who signed
Yes.
up for it, because it's like, oh, it's a joke. I'll sell my soul. And it's like nobody's taking that shit
Yes.
serious. And
Mhm.
I love my soul. I dance with my soul. Ain't that my soul is priceless. It's mine. It's one of a kind.
Yeah.
Right. But I do want to end it on a high note. And this is where I see time and time again. And like I said, I'm not gonna I'm not trying to promote it, but I feel like there's one path and there's another path. And I know Mark Wahlberg, he said in the past, he was like, my religion, my faith is what helped me in Hollywood. It helped me get to where I'm at. And if you don't know anything about Mark Wahlberg, he was the inspiration for the show Entourage, where he was like, bringing his boys along to, live his lifestyle and all that. And of course, he's famous. He probably had a life of a debauchery too. But he said, when he's down, he found his faith. And the latest one I saw was Shia LaBeouf from Transformer.
Mm-hmm.
He just recently said it, he found his faith too, and he's turning his whole life around. So, as much as there's stuff like, all the satanic stuff out there, there's also people who are coming around saying, you know what, when you find that higher calling, when you find, that you go on that spiritual journey, you find balance in your life too. So that's what I'll leave it at. But this shit is crazy.
There were societies that did it correct back in the day, that life existed, but it wasn't pushed to the forefront or made taboo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, we exist and we do our thing, but we're not in your face constantly, doing certain things.
Right.
And I think that's how most people feel. Most people are so like, listen, it's 2023. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want to do in your bedroom. Go out. It doesn't bother me when I see that in life. To me, I don't. It doesn't even register to me when I see people out doing all that stuff. And if you feel a certain way, like, I wish, like, like it hurts me if somebody feels like they got to be in the closet in this day and age. But the thing that gets me is when it's in your face. And it's not, I'm not saying the love is in your face. I'm saying everything else, this whole propaganda, everything else that's going on, corporations getting on board, right? Like I said, the White House, governments, politics, all this stuff, it's in your face. That, to me, with any propaganda, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call it out. So, but Trish said, you guys with the hard-hitting topics today. Yes, that's what we do. We're trying to do that. Every show, we're trying to make sure it's a banger, because we're trying to have those discussions that, nobody else wants to have.
Those hard conversations.
Especially here on YouTube.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Couch Show.
Hey, round of applause for Lynn for bringing a hard-hitting topic. She's seeing it. She's seeing it. Yep. She saw it with Liz. She saw it with Liquid Death over the weekend. She's coming in. She's having that awakening. I love it. So good job, Lynn, bringing that Liquid Death topic. It's funny, too, because I saw it and I was like, I didn't even think to talk about it. I was like, yeah, makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. Especially with that Idle Minds comment that Trish said earlier, like, we're walking around like zombies, and I can only imagine, like a whole, festival full of teenagers, young adults, and their whole advertisement is, don't be scared, don't be scared. So it's like,
but then again,
everyone's idle-minded, everyone's drinking something, next thing you know, mass suicide. Like, no, it's just scary. Don't drink that shit.
But then again, we spoke on the show too. I feel like a lot of people out here are NPCs, and I feel like NPCs is a reality. It's not just in video games, it's a reality. And I feel like they're the ones who don't have a soul. And either maybe there's an awakening where they do find their soul, but if they're just saying the same thing and doing the same thing and they're all in lockstep, I feel like they're just lemmings. They're just, they're NPCs. Non-playable characters. They're not there. It's us. We're the disruptors. We gotta keep being the disruptors. Yeah. Keep this life in Technicolor, right? The colors are beautiful, man, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on Thursday.
Love you guys. Keep it safe.